The following is a presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions in the past, present, and or future. Oh, hi there, I'm Uncle Ron Juckett, and today we're going to bring you the conclusion of the 1992 Indianapolis 500 as played on Roberto Chivani's Daring Racers. Now, I've done a couple things different from how Roberto has the game, and when I pull up the spreadsheet and you see, I'll explain what I did. But with one round to go, 25 laps remain at Indianapolis. Roberto Guerrero is on the pole. He wasn't really rated all that well, to be honest. He has avoided trouble, but somehow has remained on the lead lap all the way through. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness, I can't count. 4, and he's 16th, which is good for him. What I did was, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. So he was on the pole. So as we head in the last 25 laps, 3 drivers, 2 of them named Andretti, have a shot to win this thing. Now, this was the closest 500 at the time in history. Little Al Unser Jr. beat Scott Goodyear by 0.04 of a second. In fact, 43 thousandths of a second was the final margin. I remember watching that, partially hungover, on Memorial Day 1992, going, wow. Anyway, so that's that. But Scott Goodyear got into retirement trouble in the first segment, or the first 25 laps. So that's not, as my nose itches, what you want to see. He actually qualified 33rd in the real race and almost won the blessed thing. So let's get to it. Let me show you what I've done, and then players of Daring Racers can tell me if they like what I did or what I didn't like what I did. So here's the screen. Here's the situation. I had to shrink everything just to get everything on. So I didn't actually do a qualifying itself for the race, which you can, and it's quite fun. I went through and put everybody in order, base 1 through 33, because that's what Indianapolis is all about. So I took the real qualifying, and then instead of putting them in blocks of 6, I put them in rows of 3, like you would at Indianapolis. So Eddie Cheever, Roberto Guerrero, and where's my other one? Well, Mario Andretti would have all been placed on spot 1 for row 1. So what you see for the qualifying is the row that they were in. Al Unser Jr. qualified in the 4th row, so spots 10 through 12. Dominic Dobson, who has survived the melee so far, 28, 29 through 30. Ted Prappis and Tom Sneaver, who are still in the race, qualified almost dead last. So it's normally, for Daring Racers, it's 8 segments. You roll on the chart, you move the cars around, and then sort after each to figure out where they are in the field. I did, as opposed to just that one thing with putting them in the rows of 3, because that's how you do it at Indy, because oval racing is a bit different from road racing, what I did was I threw in yellows. And so the first accident after lap 50, or segment 2, if there was an accident between segments 2, 3, and 4, so rows or column M, O, or P, you see it came after the M, I regrouped the field and rows of 3. And if they were more than 20 spots behind, I made them a lap down, if that makes any sense. So we had an accident in the second segment. It was Jim Crawford smashed up against a barrier, so we brought the field together, we packed him in the rows, and then we went 3 segments really without an accident. But there was a big one, we're going to say, on lap 132. So after this 125 lap segment, where, goodness gracious, it knocked out 2 cars. It knocked out Emerson Fittipaldi and Gordon Johncock. So, because it was the first accident in the second half of the race, I regrouped them all again. This time, Tom Sneaver went 2 laps behind. He got a 50 because he obviously wasn't going to win it. And you can see where at Little Al, Michael, and John Andretti were all there and ready to go. And then after lap 150, after our 6th segment, we had a massive accident. And I'm not sure if I read that right or wrong. It took out Mario Andretti, who was pretty much contending the entire race, Paul Tracy, John Paul Jr., Jimmy Vasser, and Stan Fox. And now I reserve the right to throw. When you have that many, when you have 5 in an accident, they're going to reset the field. And so we did. They went green again on lap 163, and we did not have an accident in segment 7. So going into the last action segment, it was Little Al, Michael Andretti, John Andretti in row 1, Big Al, Raul Boesel, Danny Sullivan. In row 3, Scott Pruitt, Rick Mears, and Lynn St. James. How about her? What a race for her. Dominic Dobson. Rick Mears, Dominic Dobson, and Scott Brayton in row 4, and there you go. And so we're now going to have the conclusion of the race. I'll look up how Killer Instinct works just in case we get a tie for positions, or at least for the win. So right now, Little Al has a 3-second lead over Michael Andretti as the laps tick away. Okay, here we go. There is 19 drivers left in the field. Tom Sneeve is going to cross the line a couple laps back. He won't get into an accident. 6 and an N is a 4. He has survived the race. Philippe Gosh is going to roll out of that N column and finish the race. Jeff Andretti. Now, let's see. It's a double, so I checked to see. It's a possible retirement roll. I roll again. It's a 3, nothing there. 4N is a 3. 31. Let me move that for you. Going to finish now. Everyone else is on the lead lap. Roberto Guerrero took the pole. He is rated as bad as you can be in this game. He's an N. But he's going to get some points. Maybe. Nope. He's going to roll on the retirement table because he rolled doubles. He rolled a 9. And now he's got to roll a 3rd time here. He's out of the race on a 1 through 7 on the green. He's not. 6N is 14. Okay. Eric Bachelard from Belgium. 8I is a 3. Brian Bonner. Retirement chart check. 10. He's going to have to roll again. Oh, no effect. 0 there. So 6I. He survives with 2. So he'll go to 9. AJ Foyt had a good race. He qualified in the back end of the field, and he's going to finish. 11 on an I. It's going to be a 4. Bonner passed him. Now Ted Prappis. 8. H. 2. So he rolled. Finishes on square 8. Scott Brayton. Out of the G. 8G is a 2. Finishes in the money. Lynn St. James. What a race for her. 7H is a 2. So we'll have some winning instincts to resolve those positions. Dominic Dobson. Uh-oh. Got a sneeze. Okay, so possible retirement check here. He rolls a 6, which is an accident check. Trying to gun it. He will not. 10 on an H. He will lose 3 positions. We got a gaggle there as we finish. Rick Mears, 6 on a G is a 1. So he's going to finish with a top 10. 8 for Pruitt on an F is a 1. Good finish for him as we're well into the top 10 now. Lynn St. James is actually fighting that gaggle at an 8. There are 4 spots, 2 for top 10. So good for her. Eddie Cheever, a 3 on an F. Oh, Eddie Cheever had a good roll. He's going to move up 1. Spot to 2. Now this is a gaggle. Danny Sullivan in the Gallmer Chevrolet. Rolling out of the E column. 6E is nothing changes. He can't win. Raul Boycell. Same thing. 6 out of the E. Nothing doing. Whole big draft. Big Al. Al Unser rolling out 5E. Aha. He can do really no worse than 4th. He moves up 1. John Andretti. Out of the E. Oh, he's going to slide. 10. He's going to move down 2. Got hooked up out of the draft. Now, Michael Andretti, who should have won this race in real life, he had a fuel problem and the latter stretches. He led 160 some odd laps in this race. He is rolling out of the D column. He needs a 2, 3, or 4 to make this really interesting. He rolls a 5. Oh, he'll gain. Not over yet. He'll move up to -1. So little Al, who won this race in real life, he is rolling out of the C, but a roll of 10 or 11 throws this into Killer Instinct, and he loses the race on a 12. He rolls an 11. And so we go tied. We are tied. Now, who's going to win? We're going to sort these drivers out and come back and show you who wins the race. Okay, we're first going to resolve the race between 10th and 13th. There are 4 drivers on the same spot. So you look in column J, the KI. It says 12, 11, 14, and 15. What we're going to do is we're going to roll that green die. It's a 10-sider. And, of course, if it's a 10, it's a 0 because I forgot to change that. And whoever has the lowest roll will get those spots. So right now, Lynn St. James is in the driver's seat, so to speak, because she's an 11. So let's roll. Prappis is a 15. He rolls a 1. So 8.16. Brayton, a 14. That's going to be a 6. We had 14 and 6. 8.2. Lynn St. James, an 11. And the 7. Oh. 8.18. Dominic Dobson is a 12. If he rolls a 1, 2, or 3, he's got 10th spot. He rolls a 3, so he's going to take 10th. All right, the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Raul Boycell, Danny Sullivan, Eddie Cheever. Okay, Boycell and Sullivan are 9s. Cheever is an 11. We're going to roll Cheever first. We had 11 and 9 for 2.2. Not good. Danny Sullivan rolls a 4, so 2.13. And now Raul Boycell, if he rolls less than a 4, he's going to finish 4th. He rolls a 9, that won't be the case. He will finish 5th. So Sullivan 4th, Boycell 5th, Eddie Cheever 6th, which is good for him. He'll take it. Now the win. Who's going to win? Michael Andretti's Killer Instincts is 7. Al Unser Jr.'s is a 5. Remember, the lower the roll, the better. So you want to see a 10. 10 or a 1 is what these guys want to see. We get to the line. Michael, 7 and 8. is minus. I gotta go lower here. Take away 15 here. 0.85. Or, yeah, close enough. And Unser rolls a 5. So Al Unser's going to win this by 0.05 of a second. Or on the same spot. So let's sort this and we'll get it right back to you. Yep, Little Al by the hair of his chinny chin chin, about half a car length, beats out Michael Andretti to win the 1992 Indianapolis 500. Big Al, his dad, finishes third. Danny Sullivan across the line in fourth. Raul Boesel by, again, about half a car length in fifth. And then Eddie Cheever, who was on his bumper, in sixth. Scott Pruitt, Rick Mears, or John Andretti, Scott Pruitt, and Rick Mears, 7th, 8th, and 9th. A big battle for 10th. And Dominic Dobson just beats out Ted Prappis. Lynn St. James in 12th. Oh, what a race for her. Scott Brayton in 13th. Brian Bonner in 14th. And then A.J. Foyt, Eric Beckelert, Roberto Guerrero stayed in the fray the entire way. Jeff Andretti, Philippe Gosch, and Tom Sneva, the last active one, the field in 20th. A good race for Tom. And you see the rest of the finishers. So Little Al repeats as Indianapolis 500 champion in 1992. But it was Michael Andretti on the Killer Instinct roll that got it through for Little Al. And Michael came close. And I wonder if Mario Andretti hadn't gotten in an accident, if he could have made it. So Gallmer Chevy with the win, Alola Ford second, Alola with a Buick third, and the Gallmer Chevy of Danny Sullivan, the two Gallmer chassis, finish 1 and 4. Chevy in the top 5, they take 3 spots. First, 4th, and 5th. Michael Andretti's Ford finishes 2nd, and Al Unser Sr.'s Buick. There's a lot of Buicks in the field, but they weren't the most reliable cars. So there you have it, of the 2 Penske cars. Rick Mears finishes 9th, and Paul Tracy was collateral damage in an accident. Make sure that, okay, I am seeing myself here, hopefully. I don't know why the heck that beeped. So there you go. If you want to know more about Roberto Chivini's games, go to sportsreplays.net. Daring Racers is one of the great games that he has. We featured some of the Olympic stuff on the channel as well. So that was pretty exciting. So the changes I made again for the race that you saw, I did the real qualifying. I did not roll everyone for the qualifying. It comes with way more than 33 drivers for the entire kart season of 1992, and there were several that only ran at Indianapolis. That's not a surprise. And I added competition yellows for an accident after segments 2, 3, or 4. Okay, you got that to regroup the field, and I put them back in the rows of 3, as you're supposed to in Indianapolis, although I really should have done rows of 2. And then I did the third one after the big wreck on lap 150. So my changes are on an oval race, competition yellows after segment 2, 3, or 4 if there is an accident. Just one. I wouldn't do it for them all. And for the second half of the race, 5, 6, or 7 segment, because it's an 8-segment race. And if you get a big collection after your last accident or after you're already your yellow, I added one in before segments 6 and 7 because we had 5 cars leave the field. They obviously would bunch the cars together. So you might want to try that with an IndyCar oval race or a NASCAR race to see what you get. Certainly kept some people in the field, and it made sure that, I mean, how many did I have here? Of the 17 cars actually kind of had a chance going into, 17 cars had a chance coming out of that yellow to win the race. Was it realistic that they were going to win? No, but it certainly made an oval race a lot more interesting. Again, Roberto Chivini Games, sportsreplays.net. He's got a little column on the left. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ron Juckett. We'll talk to you soon.